Hey, it's been about a month since the Christmas holiday, and you know what? You still may be digging out of some holiday debt and trying to get your finances in order for 2023. It is never too late to do that. Our guest will tell you that for sure. Answering your questions today about money and credit and debt is Nathan Grant, MoneyTips Senior Finance Industry Analyst. This is how you get your question to him, 336-379-5775. You just text us the question. It's anonymous, and you'll get your answer in real time. All right, so let's just start with this. Is it ever too late to start a new savings/spending plan?
No, the good thing about making a financial plan is that really the day you start is the day you can really start making a positive impact, whether that's saving, building your credit, reining in your spending, making a new budget. It all starts with taking that first step and then just sticking with it.
All right, so it doesn't make a difference if January 1st came and gone and you didn't start it. You can start it now. It doesn't matter. All right, so a lot of folks are looking at their credit card bills because they're coming in now with all of the holiday buying. How do we start paying off our holiday debt?
The most important thing to do is focus on the highest interest debt first, because that's where most of your money is going to go to. If you carry that high interest balance month to month from the holidays or any time of the year, that high interest is going to be compounded every month that you don't pay it off. So paying off your bills in full is the ideal. A lot of times that's not realistic, but if you can focus on paying down that high interest debt the most, you're going to save the most money over time. And that's a good way to start off the year. It's a good financial resolution, is to be like, I'm going to focus on paying down my debt and focus on the high interest. So that way I'm saving more money that can go to saving or getting the purchases and emergency funds built up that you need to put that money towards.
Okay, so pay off that biggest debt first and then see how that snowballs and see how we go from there. All right, with inflation showing no signs of slowing, let's talk about some of the ways that we can take to get our finances on track, because this year it's a little different than most years.
Yeah, one of the things that's super important to remember right now is, like, everybody's financial situation is different. And so that means where you start is going to affect all those decisions you make going forward. You know, if your credit scores need to be built up first so you can get approved for things that you have in the pipeline, like new credit, things like loans, vehicle loans, mortgages. You want to get your situation in order there. But for some people, they might be all set in that regard, but they just don't have much in their savings. And if an emergency comes up in the next couple months and they don't have the money in their savings to pay for that, they're going to lean on things like credit cards and then end up having high interest debt. So it's looking at your individual situation and not focusing on the things like the economy and inflation. Those things are obviously important, but you can't really do much about those. So you really want to focus on your situation and make those targeted decisions based on what your situation's like.
All right, and they may say, okay, I don't know in my situation where I could save money. During 5 o'clock, we ran an interview with you from earlier about 3 different ways that you can save money in a small way, but at least there's 3 ways to save. And so let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody and their brother has some sort of subscription service they might have signed up for. And, you know, sometimes your show's over with and you forget to unsubscribe, or, you know, your next season doesn't start for a couple months. Even a few months, getting some money back in your account from those things that are just sitting there and charging every month could go towards some of those financial goals. Another thing, too, is we pay for convenience a lot of times. So if you want to get delivery and you're paying for DoorDash or grocery delivery through like Instacart, those fees add up. And by the time you look at the total when you're about to check out, it's much higher than when you are adding those items to your list. So if you can save some money by hopping in the car and going down the road instead of using those services, at least for a little while, that's going to put you in a better position to have more money to put towards these things that can help you.
Mm-hmm. This person is kind of leading you into the number 3 way that you can save money. They say best ways to save money when everything is so expensive. And you said...
Yeah, that's called shrinkflation, when things are going up, but the prices are going up, but the size is maybe the same or less. How do we combat that? Well, one of the things you can do is look for alternatives. Maybe there's a more generic brand of something that you like that doesn't taste much different or isn't going to be much different. So you're not really sacrificing much, but you're just changing that purchase to something that might cost a little less. Or maybe you could even buy in bulk. And, you know, if you get those family size items or shop at like a store like Costco or something like that that has bigger amounts, you might be paying less in the long run if it's stuff that you can plan ahead because you regularly would buy that anyway.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. We see balance transfers all the time. They say that, you know, you can save money if you do this. When is a balance transfer worth it?
Well, I mentioned the interest when we first started this, and the whole point you might consider a balance transfer is by transferring a really high interest debt to an account like a balance transfer card where the interest is much lower. A lot of times you can get offers for 0% introductory APRs. And what that's doing is letting you have that time to pay off the debt, like holiday debt, but without having to worry about that interest every month just adding up and adding up. So it may be a balance transfer that you want to look into, especially if your credit's in a good spot and you might have more likelihood of being approved. But there's also things like personal loans, and even if it's not 0% interest, even if you're lowering it from an average 20-something% credit card debt to a lower interest loan, that still is going to save you money over time, and it's making that targeted decision for your individual situation.
All right, and just so folks don't miss it, when you do a balance transfer, it usually costs something. There's like a fee associated with it. Most of the time it's like, what, 3%?
It's different depending on the issuer, but there might be like a flat fee for making the transfer. But again, you're saving that money on the interest. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, everything is subject to approval. So even if you don't get approved for a credit limit that can cover your whole debt that you want to pay off, even transferring a portion to something that has no interest is going to really help you in the long run save money.
That's right. All right. We're going to continue to take your questions. In fact, one of your questions is, how do you rebuild your credit? All right. We're going to talk about that and much more when we come back after the break.